I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about AI lately, and you're wondering, what the heck is this? And what can I do with it? So, welcome back to the Crack the Code podcast. I'm your host, Cora Naylor, and today I'm super excited to welcome my friend, CT Talbot. CT is a Master NLP Trainer and an AI enthusiast, and she helps women entrepreneurs leverage the power of AI to grow and automate their businesses. But there's also so much more to it. And that's why I wanted to have CT on today so we can chat about some of the other things we can use AI for. Because I know a lot of people are afraid of it and, what's it going to do and all that. But there's so many cool things we can do. And there's so many different tools than just Chat GPT. So
Yes.
welcome, CT.
Welcome to me. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So maybe before we get into this even a little bit, like maybe you can even tell some of the listeners roughly what NLP is, because I'm in that space where I hear about it all the time, but some of the people out there listening might not even know, like, well, they've heard this NLP or what the heck is NLP?
Yes. Okay. So NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, and it's a combination of different modalities. The founders studied human psychology, human success, family counselors, hypnotists. So it's a way of studying the human brain and how people are successful. And it's how your thoughts affect your neurology and your physiology, how your language affects how you're thinking internally, and then how do you communicate. And the programming part is those habits that you run, either that are working for you or not working for you, and how do you process information. So it's a communication model for human beings. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people may have heard of it because of Tony Robbins and that kind of
Yep.
thing. I think he's sort of got the ball rolling for a lot of people to get into it, but it is interesting. So listeners, if you haven't heard of it before, do a little bit of research, because it can really change how you communicate with people, especially if you are in business. There's a lot to it that can really improve what you're doing. And so how did you go from doing sort of NLP work and getting into this whole AI? Were you already into technical stuff, or, how did that happen?
Yeah. So I spent about 35 years in corporate doing adult learning. So that's where my expertise lies. And then I learned NLP. And a lot of people that study NLP, they do it for personal coaching or for, a way of therapy, if you will. But I took it and I'm like, this is a powerful communication tool. So I took it into business. And I taught people how to communicate better, how to be more effective in their jobs. And when I left corporate, I went, and I've always had a knack for technology, always. And so when I left corporate and I became an entrepreneur, I thought I was going to go down the tech route. So build websites. I did messenger marketing for a while. So I was always doing like chatbots anyways, but I didn't like it as my business. I liked it as a way to just have it as an outlet. So when I started then when I finally decided what I wanted to do in my entrepreneurship, it was to teach NLP, specifically storytelling. And I was in a class and I was teaching, and one of the students shared with me ChatGPT. And then we collaborated, and I'm like, okay, first of all, I thought ChatGPT was one of those, like, remember Clubhouse, and everyone was waiting so eagerly for their invite. I thought it was another hype. So I really resisted for the first 3 months. And then when it came out, and then this person, the student, showed me the power of it in what I was teaching, then I'm like, oh, I can actually teach ChatGPT NLP so that people can write content better and communicate better. So then the rabbit hole really got opened, and I've gone down it pretty deep. So now it's more AI with NLP infused.
Yeah. And I just took one of CT's programs yesterday, and I have dabbled a little bit in NLP, so I was aware of it, but it does take some getting used to be able to use it. And I know friend of mine shared another AI tool too, and it's a more conversational one. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's really interesting. And I thought, oh my gosh, if you didn't have a friend to talk to, literally you have a conversation with them. Like you just sort of say some stuff, they'd give you stuff, like a real conversation with the person. It is amazing.
Yes.
And is Chat GPT your most favorite tool, or is it just that most people are using that one? Or do you have a
I think
favorite?
most people started with ChatGPT, Claude.ai, but Anthropic just came out. And that it's the AI, there's different AIs. This one is called conversational AI because, like what you just said, Corey, you can have a conversation with it. So there are many different conversational AIs. Claude.ai and ChatGPT happen to be my favorite. But what you said is, doesn't matter where you are on the AI spectrum, go to any one of these free tools and you say, this is how I started. Tell me a joke.
Yeah.
Because I love jokes and I love humor and I love having fun. You can literally say, tell me a joke that will make my eyes roll. And you say, thank you, ChatGPT. Can you tell me another? Sure. And then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I have this book that I really love. And it's called The Tall Lady with the Iceberg, and it's about metaphors and storytelling. And I don't have time to reread the whole thing. So I asked ChatGPT, could you summarize the book for me and pull out the key NLP related, storytelling related, communication related topics that I can infuse? So I don't use it just for marketing and content writing. It's like a personal development tool. It's even ChatGPT, I want to build a habit over the next 30 days of walking more. How can I incorporate that into and then you can say, ask me any questions that you have until we both are on the same page and we have our plan in place. Like it literally, you can have a conversation about anything and get the conversation going.
That's so cool. And that's one of the things I wanted to really talk about today is what are some of the unique ways to use these AI tools that people maybe hadn't thought of because they think of using it for business. You know, we use it for like helping us to create content or write a blog or get ideas. But I love also the summary of books because how many of us have like a million books? I mean, I live in a tiny house. I used to have lots of real books, but I don't have space for it now. So I have a small pile of real books, but then I have my Kindle full. So,
yeah,
it takes up less space. But if you could just say, oh, I'm thinking about reading this book, get the summary first, and then decide if you want to read the whole book.
Right. Exactly. And the best tip that I can say is every time you ask one of these conversational AIs what you want, also include ask me questions so that you understand, because maybe you don't even know. Just maybe say, I'm struggling with procrastination and I know there's a ton of books out there. What do you recommend? Ask me any questions that you need to know about me so you can recommend the best book. Right? Because there's so many out there, but creative ways. I don't know if you have parents or grandparents in the listening community, but you can make up games.
What?
You can give different characters. So you can have it create stories. So one of the things that I have my sister, and she's got some kids, and one of the kids was being bullied. So you can ask the ChatGPT or a conversational AI, be a therapist, be a psychologist with some hypnosis expertise. And my child is being bullied. She's 8 years old. And what can be a story that can help her start to resolve her issues as she sleeps? And have it write you a hypnosis script, and then you read it to them. Write a book that then they can read. Have it suggest text to image descriptions, and then you can create a coloring book. I mean,
oh my gosh,
I know,
mind blow.
yes.
Yeah.
For there's board games. Let's say you like Monopoly and Clue and Sudoku. Ask ChatGPT to make up a new game that you can play in your community circle.
Wow. Oh, I never even thought of that. I'm gonna have to mention that to my kids because my kids are both D&D players,
Oh,
so yeah, they have in the past tried to make up their own games too. So I never even thought of that. And
yep.
I know recently you've done a workshop with another lady that we know about finding friends. And often
Yes.
in women in midlife, we've gone through different things. People are getting divorced or spouses die or different things can happen. And we're struggling to find friends because it's not like we go to school or we're necessarily going to a workplace where we'd meet people. So I know you did a workshop on finding friends on ChatGPT. Maybe you can give us a little synopsis of how that worked.
Yes. So what we did there was, let me just educate just a little bit. There's 3 P's to a conversational AI. There's priming, which is the context that you want it to know about you. There's the prompting, which is the question or the task that you're giving it. And then there's the persona, like how do you want it to act? So priming, when you want to make friends and you want to ask ChatGPT how to do that, you give it the priming of what are your values, who are you looking for, what do you want out of the friendship? You give it some information about what it is that you're looking for. The prompt is, ChatGPT, I live in South Dakota and I'm looking for ideas to expand my circle of community. What are some ideas? And it will take, based on like your interest and your values, it will suggest. Now, here's the thing though, ChatGPT doesn't have real-time access to the internet. So you're better off doing it in Claude.ai because it will find you the events. It'll find you the brick and mortar type community centers that might be available. So it will start to give you some ideas because it has access to the real-time internet. So that's just one way. You prime it with what are you looking for, who you are, what you want to do. You ask ChatGPT or Claude AI, how do you go about doing that? And then the persona is, you just say that you're like a relationship coach and, will give me some, let's play an interview. I'm a little bit timid about putting myself out there. I'm a little bit shy. What are some questions that I can ask somebody that I meet for the first time in this type of environment, and pretend that you're that person and let's just have a conversation. Like I just walk up to you, what do I say? And that you can create the scenarios beforehand. So then when you show up, you're a little bit more confident.
That is so cool. It's just mind blowing. I just like, that's the thing that I forget. And in some ways I get overwhelmed because there is so much stuff you can do. And I mean, you could sit on there and go down a million rabbit holes with it for days and days.
Yes.
But it is so cool. Like I wouldn't even thought of that. But and I liken it almost back to when the internet first came in, because I remember when the internet first came in, and my husband and I both had jobs and we had free internet, was dial up. I mean, it was horrid. Like my kids were in kindergarten, they wouldn't even use it because it was so slow. But I remember searching for a cookie recipe and I said to my husband, this thing sucks. I am never going to use this. I don't get it.
Yep.
And I think that's what AI is for a lot of people, because it's getting used to it. And like you say, priming it, because so many people give you prompts and just say, ask for a joke, ask for this, but you need to give it a little bit more to work with first.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that you said you were living in a tiny home and you like to travel. I didn't do this myself, but I did watch a video, and this person, they were digital nomads. They said that they are taking a trip across country from Maine to California. They want to go in 45 days. And every Wednesday they want to stop so that they have really good Wi-Fi. And they only want to drive 6 hours at a time. And they want to take the southern route. And they want to visit like a iconic national museum or something. And it did remember AAA, and you go to AAA and they highlight, no, so it will do it. And then you say, recommend, popular restaurants with 5 stars in the area. So you can do your whole trip planning with the conditions that you want. And of course you got to check it for accuracy, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, but I would say 90% of your trip is going to be planned. Like there's a Coach Jenny and Coach Meredith in our world. I suggested that to them, and they've got like an 8-foot trailer. So
Yeah.
you can even say, find me the RV parks with the 8-foot trailer capacity parking. It does, like, anything that you conceive in your head as a human being, you can have a conversation with an AI tool and take that conversation wherever you want it to go.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it's a condensed Google, you know, because
Yes.
you Google it and you get a million pages, but then you got to sort through each one. And so
Yep.
with the AI tools, you can just condense it all in, like you say, give it all the parameters of what you want, and it spits out all, and it's so fast. And just
Yes.
hit enter and it's already typing out the answer.
Yeah.
Like, a brain cannot work that fast.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I believe AI will serve humanity in the way that we don't have to think so hard. We can spend our energy with our family, with our friends, living as a human being. And I believe artificial intelligence will reduce the 9 to 5. We don't have to work that hard, because we can have AI tools now do the majority of almost any human job. I mean, we have
Yeah.
robots, like, people
Yeah.
don't like, we have robots doing surgery, right? Well before ChatGPT came out, right? And
Mhm.
remote, right? So this world that we're in, I believe it's going to help human beings live a better quality life, because we don't have to work. We can enjoy.
Mhm.
We can travel. We
Yeah.
can be with, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, right? We're just saying, I mean, as the whole industrial revolution and all of that
Yeah.
supposedly are, but I don't know. In some ways, I wish we could go back to the days when everything was closed on Sundays, you know?
Yes, remember those days.
Yeah, because now we have to try and force that to happen almost, because everything's available all the time. So I hope it does go like that. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some growing pains with all of this, you know, with, you know, kids writing essays in school and all that. How do
Yeah.
they do that? Because I remember when my kids were little and Wikipedia came out, I thought they were cheating by using Wikipedia, like,
Yes.
instead of the encyclopedias. So, you
Yeah.
know,
And
yeah,
that is a fundamental shift in, we don't have to rely on the human brain to do some reasoning or some rationalizing or some synthesizing or even creation, right? So it is going to shake up the education. So we fundamentally have to decide what's now more important. Prompt engineering is going to be a super skill, more so than maybe some of the other, what we were taught, you know, cursive writing versus printing. Like,
yeah.
it's more important to be able to type on the computer and get the computer to do what you need it to do.
Yeah. And I mean, my husband's, you know, just at the end of his career as a programmer, he's like, oh my God, could you imagine if this had been around when he first started? He's been doing it for 30 years, right? It's just like, he just like, I just want to code for this and make me a file to do that. And it's just like, there.
Just does it in seconds.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it's so
Yep.
crazy. So
Yep.
we've got a couple minutes left. Do you have any other kind of cool little things that you've thought of that you can use, or which other tools people might be interested in looking at?
So Midjourney is another AI tool that creates really amazing graphics,
Hmm.
or coloring books, like coloring graphics. So you can create your own coloring books. There are so many.
Yeah.
There are just so many that if someone's just getting started, I would start with ChatGPT or Claude.ai and even ask it, okay, this is the thing. Say, this is who I am. I'm a teacher. I'm a retiree. I'm interested in pickleball.
Pickleball.
Pickleball. I have not gone on that bandwagon yet.
Yeah, yeah,
And I want to understand AI at a beginner's level. And then it's going to ask you a few questions, and then you let the conversation, it will help you understand it and help you recommend tools that you might want to explore. There are thousands of AI tools.
yeah,
That's my recommendation to start if you're absolutely brand new. And if you're not, you go into ChatGPT and say, I've been using you for a while and I've been using these other tools. Help me advance my skills. Where else, what else should I be learning? And it's
yeah,
going to go into some really technical stuff. But yes, so it
yeah.
doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah, or just say, yeah, I want one that's specifically for creating coloring pages or whatever, and
Yep.
it'll tell you the other ones. Like it's again kind of like a Google in
Right.
some ways. If you think of it, and I like thinking of it like a brainstorming partner too, or whatever, or a
Yep.
planner, like you say, planning trips. I think that's a huge one. That's a huge one. I have to try that out. I have
Yeah,
not
that
done
would be
that yet.
fun.
Yeah, I know I did actually. Now that you said that, someone else said they did that. They planned their whole trip, and I thought, oh, that's cool because I just go Google, but then you got to do all of the steps. So it just kind of gets you started with everything in order. That's
Correct. And then you
awesome.
just fact checking versus creating the whole entire thing in yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if the people that are listening want to get in touch with you, CT, because I know you do mostly helping, women entrepreneurs and marrying this with their business to make things easier. And it's an awesome help for the things that you do. Like you do a thing called an AI twin. So it really helps the priming for women to make it sound like a little more like you when you go in and do the prompting in Chat GPT. So how would people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
The best way is my bit.ly link, and I'm just going to spell it out. So it's B as in boy, IT as in Tom, .ly/M as in mobile /CT. So it's bit.ly/M/CT. That will let you connect with me on Messenger. Come join my free Facebook group where we talk about all things AI. I've got some free guides on there to get you started. And then, of course, there's some services if you want to go even farther. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing with everyone today, because I know a lot of people are not even sure how this AI thing's going to work. And there's so many cool tools and things you can do with it. So listeners, thank you for coming today. And if you haven't started yet, I highly recommend you give it a try. And like you say, if all you're going to do for starters is ask for a joke, start there because it's never too late.